Well, I messed that right up, didn't I? Hi, I'm Victoria Pearson, but you can call me V, and if you have watched any of my videos at all over the last couple of years, you will know all about the Summer Realm Trilogy project. For those of you that don't know, myself and 3 other authors co-wrote a trilogy which has come out this year. Book 1 there is Agents of Secrets and Lies. We've got book 2 is Savage Invasion, and book 3 is Battle of Wind and Fire. And our friend Michael Wombat had come to us and said, I've got this really good idea for a story that's kind of based on Dungeons and Dragons sort of rules, where we would each take a character and a strand of the story and write an adventure that sort of weaves and twists and pleaches together through the story and comes together at the end. It was a brilliant idea, and I must say I think we pulled it off rather well. But unfortunately, Michael Wombat passed away just days before the first book was released, and he never got a chance to see it fully published as it is here. But we did expect that. We knew that the end of his time was coming, and so we, and by we I mostly mean Miranda Kate, who is an absolute powerhouse of admin duties, managed to scramble together a special edition copy that contained all 3 books, unedited, but as they were going to be roughly all in the order that they were supposed to be, so that we could get a copy to him before he died, and we did manage to do that. There was a minimum print run on that book order service, and so we ended up getting 5 copies even though there was only 4 of us, and we had one left over, and I was told that I could keep it to make art with. And so I thought it would be really, really nice if I could make a piece of art from our shared book for each person that was involved in the trilogy that's still around. The ladies involved might actually have an inkling that I'm doing this, I'm not sure. I didn't tell them, but I did ask them to indulge me and tell me their favourite place in the Summer Realm and also their favourite flower. And I had a vision, and the vision was so good. It was going to come together so well. I was going to do a tutorial for it. You were going to learn how to do it as well, and so we could spread it all around. It didn't quite go like that. But nevertheless, to start off, I had to prep my paper. The pages from the special edition, I don't know if you can see very well on camera, but they're quite glossy and very, very smooth, which makes it a little bit more difficult to fold them. And it also gives them a really bright and stark look, which I didn't mind for some aspects of this, but for others, I wanted it to look more sort of vintagey and be less shiny, more porous and easier to fold. I spent several days tea staining and drying out these pages. I've got quite a small kitchen and nowhere else that I could really let them dry. So I was having to do 3 or 4 at a time, leave them to dry completely, come back, do another 3 or 4 pages. It took me quite some time, but eventually we had the vintagey paper that was ready to go. And that's where it got a little bit complicated. I had asked the ladies what their favourite flowers were because I fully intended to make their favourite flowers out of the paper. And Miranda said gerberas, which when I had a look, I thought, oh, they look kind of like daisies. They should be quite simple. And then Lisa said bluebells, and I thought, oh, that might be a little bit more complicated. Turns out they were both really, really complicated, okay? I looked at a couple of tutorials and I did my absolute best, but I just could not cope with all of the folding without following a tutorial along. I found it really, really difficult. In fact, even when I was following the tutorial along, I would fold this piece of paper the same way that they did in the tutorial, with the tutorial on 0.2 speed, so it was really slow motion, so I wouldn't miss anything. And yet, when I would unfold it, it would be a different shape to the one in the video. I do not know what I was doing wrong, but eventually, after many hours and lots of quiet muttered swear words, I managed to cut out all of the pieces that I needed for 1 flower, and then it told me that was actually only a quarter of a flower. I'd need to do it again 4 more times, and I thought, no, I'm not doing that. I have not got it into me to follow that tutorial and keep doing that over and over and over again, I will cry. So instead I made a template. I unfolded the ones that I had made and made paper templates out of them and used those to cut the pieces out that I needed for these gerberas, and it actually worked out just fine. So I cut the pieces out, and then I decided that I wanted them to have a little pop of colour in them, because when I had asked Miranda what her favourite flower was, she had mentioned that she loved the cheerful colours, the oranges and yellows and pinky reds that go with these flowers, and that always cheers her up. So I thought I want a little touch of colour on it, but I don't want the colour to override the whole project. I used watercolour pencils and a bit of watercolour paint, and I just did the edges of the cut out pieces in various different colours within that palette so that I could have a little touch of colour on them. And I'm actually really glad that I did that. I think it makes a big difference to how they look. I think they look very intricate now compared to how they did when they were just plain paper. And so I'm really glad that I did that. When it came to doing the bluebells, I did not film any of that because I had a little breakdown in the middle of following all these tutorials. I could not get out. Apparently I am bad at origami, because these were mostly folding, and it was the folding that I was really struggling with on each piece. And in the end, I made approximate shapes that I thought would work quite well. I added a little bead in the middle of each one for a bit of stability, and I think they came out really well, but I forgot to show you any of it. Maybe one day I will attempt to make them again, and I will do a little tutorial like I did for my book page roses that I had done before, my paper rose tutorial. Roses are a lot easier. If you need to make paper flowers for something and you are not sure what flowers to make, go with roses. They're really easy. You just cut circles out. Simple. But with bluebells and with gerberas, I think I'm saying that correctly, there's a lot of intricate folding before you get to the cutting, and then you end up with some quite basic shapes, and I feel like it was very overcomplicated. I wish there was just a template that I could find and print out and just do, and maybe one day I will make one if I ever work out how to fold it and get it into the right thing. My bluebells were each slightly differently shaped from each other. I kept trying and thinking, well, that looks kind of all right, but maybe if I try it this way, it'll look a bit better. Yeah, that looks kind of good, but maybe if I try it this way, it'll look a bit better. And I think every single blossom on that little bluebell is made with a slightly different technique, but maybe that makes it look a bit more natural, a bit more variated, and a bit more sort of real. I'm not sure. On that one, again, I used watercolour pencils to lightly colour the paper over the tea stain. So I have purple and 2 shades of blue in there, and I just kind of scribbled and then went over them with the water, you know, so it made this sort of really natural effect of a colour that wasn't a block of any one colour, that looks different in different lights and different angles, just like a real bluebell would. So I'm quite pleased with how that bit came out, actually. It was just a big faff to do. And of course, because of course, I got a massive glue gun burn. I literally touched my hand to the hot end of the hot glue gun for a fraction of a second. It is a week later, it is still hurting me. Is this a badge of honour among the crafters? I don't know, but given that I've got skin that scars pretty easily, I think I'll be carrying this as a little reminder of this project for quite some time. And here are the finished projects, which I'm quite pleased with. I've got the flowers in there. I've got the maps of their favourite places that they mentioned in their original message. So this one is for Miranda. That is actually the place where her character started. It turned out being her favourite. And there are her favourite flowers around it, which took me so long. And this is Lisa's one with her favourite place, which also happens to be where her character first started too. Our creative and artistic projects don't always go to plan, and part of the joy of a creative project is feeling your way through and adapting through those challenges to be able to get your finished product. And to be fair, I am very pleased with my finished product. I just wish I had filmed myself actually making them a little bit more. And maybe it's the projects that we really love that come from a sort of heartfelt place. I really wanted to make a little memorial piece of art for each of us so that we can all have something on our shelves or on our walls that is just, we glance at it and it reminds us of the amazing time that we all had together writing this, and reminds us that even though we might be geographically very far away from each other, that one of us has passed on already, we're always going to be connected through this project. It was a very deeply important project for us all, and I really wanted us to have a memento of it. So it meant a lot to me to get this right. And I think that I put so much pressure on myself that is maybe why it was such a massive challenge. However, it did come together in the end. Now, I am going to see those ladies in a couple of days, and I'm going to be taking my little wombat to represent Michael Wombat with me, and I'm going to be surprising them with these gifts. And I thought, I'll wrap them up real pretty as well. And I got this wax seal kit for Christmas, and I thought I will seal together the twine on the parcel with it, but even that went wrong. Look at the state of that. Look at the state of that. It's a good thing it's the thought that counts, really. By the time this video goes live, I will have given the ladies the gifts already, so I will jump into the comments and let you know if they liked them or not. I'm sure that they will say they did, even if they really hate it. But I am actually very, very pleased with how they came out in the end. The struggle creating them was real, but you can't see it, I don't think, in the finished product. Join me on Monday for my next vlog, where I am not entirely certain what I'm talking about, but I think we're going to be having a witchy one. I've got a few different witchy ones keyed up for you, so it could be the Enchanter hairbrush for long hair growth. It could be my blue moon spell that I did for getting rid of anything that doesn't serve you anymore. That is something that you can do at any time of year. You don't need to wait for blue moon, so I think we might be doing that one quite soon. And I've got a few other crafty projects in the go as well. And so we've got lots coming up, and I'm not entirely sure which one we are doing yet, but I will be here Monday morning, 6 AM UK time, talking about something. And if you can't wait until then to see me again, I will also be here every single day in your shorts, taking a great big deep breath and letting you know what I'm grateful for. Yes, the world may be burning around us. Yes, everything may indeed be awful. But if we can find and hang on to those tiny little joys that are in our life, that's an act of resistance against a world that wants us all to be miserable, and I am here for it. So like and subscribe, or don't, I'm not your mum, but either way, you have yourself a magical week.